hold on. Today, Tyrus was like, Gregg Berhalter is going to do a complete, like, overhaul. Like, he's going to change a lot of players. And I was like, are you hoping or do you know something? Because I don't actually, like, believe Gregg Berhalter to, like, dream big. He's like, no, I know.
And keep in mind,
Welcome back to the Enemies of the Fire podcast. This week, the Bears actually won. We talk U.S. men's national team, Pochettino's first games in charge, and then we'll try and see if there's any fire news. I am.
By the way,
Tokyo.
there is fire news. Let's go.
That is James.
Yep.
That is DPG. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
We're saying hello to Triple G.
Yep, Triple G is running the show now.
I was trying to bury the lead.
The Chicago Bears, they're having some fun. It's been great watching Caleb throw for 300 yards more than once.
Which is hilarious because this, I think, might be the first time this podcast, all three of us watched a Bears game. Because I actually watched it with my father.
Let's go.
So, anyway, like I said, we're burying the lead here. Triple G is here as our Lord and Savior. No, I'm sorry. The GM and coach. He's going to be in charge of everything.
Everything. Director of football and head coach, as
Director of football.
Technically stated.
So, in other
He's
words,
got big director energy.
So, in other words, as soon as the player signs the dotted line, he's going to tell him, okay, welcome to Chicago. Now go run 10 laps. You want to make the starting 11? Go run 10 laps.
I mean,
prove yourself.
He's going to be the negotiator, the contract witness, signatory, whatever it's called.
Well, that's what he's got Frank for, because as Toke mentioned on chat, we were talking. I said, well, what happened to Frank? Because the club didn't really say anything about Frank. It didn't say it let Frank go. It didn't say thank you, Frank.
No, they made him assistant to the football director, or the director of
Wasn't
football.
it like vice president or something? I don't even know.
Vice president of football. So
he's the one that's going to pass the papers to Triple G, and Triple G is going to negotiate.
Well, I mean, I'd rather have Klopas involved in this club than someone like Georg Heitz or Nelson Rodriguez.
Well, here's the thing.
I think that's a lost. Here's the thing: we talk a lot of shit about Frank Klopas around here. Let's not get it twisted. But I do think one great thing that he has that people don't realize is actually important. He knows the nuts and bolts of things. He knows how to legally get a contract across the line. He knows how to schedule a practice. You know what I mean? Now, these things will work better for Europeans' first time in MLS than it will for Triple G. But again, he can lean on Frank to do some things.
Well, here's the thing. Frank can do all the boring stuff. He can, get the paperwork. But the thing is, I don't think you'll have a better negotiator than Triple G. This man has I'm just saying, this man has a relationship with a lot of U.S. players. After all, this man was national team head coach, and from all the rumors and everything we've heard, the U.S. men's players, they loved him, because he was nice to them. I don't know. But,
that's part of a national team coach's job, is getting these guys moves. They help facilitate that sometimes.
Yeah. So what's not to say that, he cannot be used to be one, to bring someone, from abroad over here. Some players like to play under certain coaches. Just saying.
James, what do you think of Mr. Triple G? Are you excited? There's smiles all around. I will say that. I've noticed.
I'm super excited. I wish the Chicago Fire had a coach like Triple G during the days of Bastian Schweinsteiger, 2017, 2018, because had they had a coach of the ilk of Triple G instead of a coach that was going through soccer college, essentially.
Not to mention the soup.
Let alone the soup kitchens, which, great community work there. But what this guy brings to the club is sensibility, maturity, experience. This is an experienced hand. Was handed the coach of Columbus in 2013. Was handed the U.S. men's national team coach 5 years later in 2018. Only led us to a pretty solid World Cup appearance with the likes of fighting with Wales, fighting with England.
I think out of all of us, I was the most bullish on the World Cup. I will say that.
Well, that said, he went out there and he took the American team and he did his darndest. He did his best. I don't know if he was the best man for the job.
No.
At U.S. men's national team.
Definitely not the second time around.
The second time around was definitely a mistake, but it wasn't that he was over. Well, at a certain point, he did get overmatched, and like his ideas just weren't conducive to the national team, and that's what gets me excited about him coming back to the club world, because his ideas didn't translate on the next stage as well as they really anticipated. They thought that his complex tactical activities would translate with these higher technically advanced players, but that wasn't the case, because what you need in those types of moments is more repetition, more time with the boys, rather than the 35 games he got, like the 50 games he got over his 4 or 5 year tenure. He's going to have 50 games in 1 year with the Chicago Fire, with all the different tournaments. So he's going to have a lot more time to install his ideas, get the boy, and then the boys, instead of getting coming in and just getting thrown into the mix, they're going to be imbibed in it, and they're only going to be leaving it if they're getting call-ups.
I will say this. I started out the day very negative about this move, and I have softened my stance on that. Part of that is I actually did not think he was at Columbus for 5 years. I actually thought it was only like a 2.5 year stint. So I will respect his Columbus stint a lot more than I have been, or at least I did earlier today.
Keep in mind, he was the one that kind of set the foundation to what the Columbus Crew is now. Because I
felt like he was getting too much credit for that, but I think you might be right. I think you are right. He set the groundwork for that.
That's not to say Nancy is not a fantastic coach to be able to do what he's doing.
Nancy is like gonna hold. He's taking his club to the next level. But the fact that Gregg Berhalter led the foundation, and actually, that led on, towards Columbus winning MLS Cups and going to CONCACAF Champions League and all that stuff. And honestly, it is a good situation for the Fire now, because you need someone that's going to lay out a foundation. You need someone that's going to rebuild this club team, because this club team has gone through so much mismanagement, and from bloated contracts to head scratchers of player signings, that you need someone that's going to clean house and set a precedence for the future. And I think Gregg Berhalter has that.
Do you think he has the capability to do that as both roles?
Yes.
Because one thing I don't like about the both roles thing is that I feel like once it gets time, like the first year, everything's golden. Everybody's so happy because he wants you. But there comes a time when the coach is not only benching you, but he's benching you because he's also shopping you, or he's also he's cutting you. Like, I feel like it creates too much bad blood sometimes.
For me, this is a good problem to have. This is a good problem. Yeah, this is a good problem to have, because not only do we have a head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, we have the GM all wrapped into one. However, as Taylor Twellman pointed out in a tweet I sent you guys, I'll pull it up here in a second. But Taylor said that in today's game, it might not work to have a man with so many hats. However, for me,
well, Peter Vermees is doing just fine, isn't he?
He's doing miserably, but and here's the quote itself. Let me pull this up for the chat, for everybody watching. Comment how you guys think about this Gregg Berhalter move to Chicago Fire. We want to hear from you guys in the comments. But I
want to know.
But oh man, I lost my train of thought.
No, Taylor Twellman.
Chicago. Okay, so Taylor Twellman. So it's about him being potentially overmatched now, and I'm seeing the good side of this, which is if there ever does come a time where he feels like he can't do both, I trust this guy. I trust this guy to be able to make that call, that he's going to be able to be like, you know what? I'm going to bring in my heir. I'm going to take over GM duties. I'll be the technical director. I'm going to bring in my heir. In comes, you name it, guy from LAFC.
Thornton.
Thornton,
no, for coach, Ante Razov.
Cherundolo.
Or Cherundolo,
Yeah,
Razov. He brings in some of his guys to take over for his head coaching. He's still the steward of the plan. He's got an idea. He's got an identity for what the Chicago Fire want to play. And I want this man installing that. I want to give this guy time. I need to give this guy more than 2 years because he had 5 years in Columbus, and look what has happened.
Not only that, we have been arguing about this for the past couple of years. We have said this team needs to be gutted. And
but
there needs to be what I'm saying is this. Every year it almost seems we always say, yeah, this team needs to be gutted. But all it does, the Fire have done is put band-aids and maybe sell one player and that's it. Like we have
so many contract guys out of contract. Plus, we have 2 buyouts. We'll get rid of Jimenez and Navarro. Like, dude,
Jimenez might fit into his plan.
Don't even say that.
Just stop. We're gonna get to another one.
I think if Triple G keeps Jimenez, like Jimenez better be like playing for Fire too.
It better be like
Jimenez could be serviceable in Triple G's tactical plans.
Okay,
here's the thing: Triple G, he can get more out of players than any coach we've had here in the. We did not have a coach that got more out of players. We finally have a coach that can get more out of players, albeit he's got his guys. Now, that might be punishing in a U.S. men's national team setup, but in a club setup, that punishment means that guy gets transferred. We got more funds to bring in somebody who he does like.
The problem is that we've seen enough of Jimenez that we know that whatever Triple G tells him, it's not going to work.
It's going to go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, guess what? We got a guy with the brass cojones to be able to be like, all right, you're gone. Like this guy, this guy is colder than the 3 witches of Greece, of ancient Greece, who are that cut the wires of your life. You know what I'm talking about?
So who is this guy we're talking about here? Now I'm kind of curious. You're hyping this guy up.
He's hyping up Triple G.
All right, so some guys will say Triple G's soft, but Triple G is soft in the right setting. When he's protected, when he's overprotected. This guy...
He does protect his players.
But Triple G also has the ability to... Not making the joke.
So hold on, we brought this up, and you brought up Jimenez, and I just want to say this. That brings us perfectly to this conversation, because I'm a little scared. Does Kuipers fit in his system? Like, who on the current roster?
So he does typically like. That's a good question, because Kuipers is the more of a Lewandowski light than a Giassi Zardes, right? And Giassi Zardes excelled in his role for Gregg Berhalter, but that's because Greg was working with what he has available. We have a guy who not only can be dealt a hand in poker, and he can be dealt straight through the shittiest hand, but 7 times out of 10, this guy can come up with could beat anybody at the table with that shitty hand. 7 times out of 10. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm just saying, like, this guy thinks deeply about soccer. He thinks about how to expose space. He thinks about how to get the other team into chaos to be able to take advantage of that. Now, there's parts of him that I wonder that are Klopas.
What's his preferred formation?
Well,
I'm just kind of curious.
Well, that's a great question. Let me bring the man himself in to answer your very question. I'm going to share my screen with you boys, and with everybody watching, our dear viewers. Greatly appreciate all of you guys, fans of Enemies of the Fire. Let me share this with my brothers here. Share my screen, and we're going here.
We also got to mention the players we're probably gonna go, and or the ones that are gonna stay.
We'll get there right after this.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll end with this and we'll come back with that.
All right.
So,
All right. So you want to hear from the man himself?
Let's hear from the man himself about his tactical, what he plans to do here, and let's wait. It's a quick 4 minutes, and we'll be out, and we'll be able to comment it, and then we'll close shop, and we'll come back to talk more about players we think about who are coming.
The idea is that we're an attacking-based team that wants to create goal scoring opportunities.
Look who it is again.
Walk us through this idea of starting from the goalie, having the ball, and disorganizing the opponents to go score.
So it's basically about just creating positional
Bobby
advantages,
Warshaw.
right? So if a normal team presses with 2 and you're building with 3, right now you have an advantage, a positional advantage here. You
By
have
the way,
3.
he's got a 3-man back line right here with his club team. It's not going to be the case here with what he talks about. Just listen. He actually elaborates on this.
Against their 2.
Oh,
when you're
no,
tucking
it's that
wingers in,
center
right?
mid
For
to
example,
right back
if they're
thing,
playing
isn't it?
with 2 in central midfield now, by tucking one winger in, again, we have a positional advantage in the middle. So we're always trying to create positional advantages against the opponent.
The great orator, Gregg Berhalter.
In trouble for Columbus Crew. That was a great
We're always
play by
trying to
Steph. He
compete.
made that tackle libero style. About 35 yards off his
Okay.
goal line.
Okay.
Valenzuela.
Let's
Why
see
does
this.
this feel like the Berhalter version of the triangle offense?
Let me ask you about.
Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? Let me
Yeah,
just
we
show
can't
us-
do it.
Let me just show you this again. This was beautiful.
We
this
can't
is,
do that.
This is Berhalter
We-
ball.
Yeah, but we can't do that. We need competent wingers for that. We don't have competent
35
wingers
yards
for
off his
this.
goal line.
That's the
Valenzuela.
two DPs.
Reds it
Not
through the
two
eye of
wingers.
the needle. Higuain.
Do you notice how they attack the penalty area?
No, I mean, I like what I'm
Let me
That
ask
is
you
where
about
Hugo
this
will
past-
be.
So listen to
That is-
listen to this though, because the MLS writer, what's his face, the couch chair guy, is talking to him, and this is one of the main facets of the Columbus team, which is he evolves. This is 6, 7 years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I have more to talk about in the next segment. We'll get to that.
Pass right here, this pass right here. That's the pass that I think a lot of people associate with the Columbus Crew and what you guys did. What is it about that pass that became so intrinsic to what you guys did?
So I think now, so we created our positional advantage, right? But now the opponent has to react to us. So what they need to do is now they need to close that advantage by sending one of their wingers forward. So now if they have a winger who's trying to release to our 3,
This is great.
now it creates a question for their
Now I'm
fullback.
kind of realizing who's
When we
staying
have
and
a
who's
winger in this
going.
position, if we're-
Yeah, you are. We'll get into this. This is very informative.
Trap, for example, had the ball and he sees now the number 4 is coming to close down the number 3 in this position.
Because he does reveal who's his most important players, essentially.
This becomes the open player because our winger is holding their fullback back. So now we play to the winger, and now something has to transpire. If he releases here, now we're going to have space to play the number 11.
Okay.
So this is how you generally set up your defense with the Columbus Crew. You pick a 4-4-2.
This is it.
Oh my-
This is where he talks
Dude's
about his
put-
actual formation, guys. This is huge.
You have Pipo Higuain, who's your number 10, step up as a second forward, and you have 2 lines of 4, and you create this block somewhere in the middle of the
Ew,
field.
gross.
How did you pick that when most other
was like
possession
the
teams around the
4-4-2.
world are high pressing or
I know,
ferociously
that's why I said
counter pressing?
gross.
What I say is
It's
that
vanilla,
there is
bro.
a little bit of detail that is missing, and it's just the position. It's not really. I wouldn't call it a 4-4-2. I call it a 4-2-2-2.
Do you hear
Okay,
that?
hold on. I did hear that, but I want to say one thing. What he's about to say, because I watched this earlier, because I do my homework. I really do like what he's about to say here. I think this is gonna be a big deal for us.
All right, I'm gonna rewind it back to the 4-4-2 part because I really think this is awesome. All right, click and play.
Or high pressing or ferociously counter pressing?
What I say is that there is a little bit of detail that is missing, and it's just the position. It's not really. I wouldn't call it a 4-4-2. I call it a 4-2-2-2.
Which is interesting because that's what Jesse Marsch loved to play with the Red Bulls over in Europe.
And this would be 4, this would be 2, this would be 2, this would be 2. And we want to control space. That the general principle of what we're trying to do is control space, make play predictable. Those are the principles that the guys work on. And then the reason why is...
That is key too. He's telling you what our Chicago Fire players are going to work on right here. This is key.
You know what's
Space,
funny?
that the-
You know what's funny though too? you can also see why that was less successful in the United States, because their strength is all on the wing, and it's not really wing play.
Interesting. All right, but this is going to be key for Chicago Fire in the next few seasons.
The general principle of what we're trying to do is control space, make play predictable. Those are the
control space, make play predictable, which the Chicago Fire do not do.
Oh God, no. This is about what they're about to talk about. It's what I really think is the big deal in his defense.
All right, let's get into it.
Predictable. Those are the principles that the guys work on. And then the reason why is, there's a couple different reasons. The first thing, in MLS, we have to accept that we're playing in tough conditions sometimes in terms of heat. We played games in Kansas City where it was almost 100 degrees this year. We played some home games, 90 degrees. I felt...
When I've listened to that, I hear that he wants a game that's gonna last. It's gonna work in the middle of the season when we're cold. It's gonna work in the middle of in the middle of the season when we're warm. I'm sorry, in the beginning of the season when we're cold. In the middle of the season when we're too hot. At the end of the season when we're starting to get cold again, we're not worried about weather because of the way we played. Because some teams that just press so much during the heat, during those humid nights, they die.
That if we're going to be a high-pressing team, it could take too much energy out of the group, right? So we want it to be more of a controlling type of team where we can control the opponent based on our defensive movement as well, not just offensively. So then we came up with this structure. How can we prevent balls coming central?
Now, I'm going to rewind this part, but this is what is going to happen, guys. We are not seeing the direct tactics of the Chicago Fire referenced through the Columbus. He is not coming into Chicago and going to be doing old Columbus tactics. He's going to be doing an evolution of everything he's ever learned, ever during his entire journey as a tactician and a coach. But on top of that, he has this knowledge of MLS, this experience of MLS that he is already bringing to the table. I'm excited about that.
Up with this structure. How can we prevent balls coming central? How can we make play predictable for the team? And this is the structure that we came up with. And
the other thing I wanted to bring up, what he's talking about here, I'm going to rewind. He's not just coming in here and just gonna be like, all right, I got these cards on the table that have worked for me in the past. Let's put down here the ace of spades. Let's put down here my ace of hearts and my ace of diamonds, right? He's not coming here and just going to do that. He's actually going to come here. He's going to look at top to bottom with what the Fire have and what he has to deal with this next coming season. Not the dead wood, but the wood that is still here. Not the dead wood this season, but the wood that will be here next season. He's looking at all of that and being like, all right, how can we get this to work? And what do we need to add to this recipe to make it work as well?
One thing we have to mention is that Gregg Berhalter is actually working as a Fire and part of the Fire organization starting today.
Yes.
Not as a head coach, but as a sporting director.
Absolutely.
So right now, the man is probably doing his homework. He's going to use the last game of the season. Don't be surprised. You see him at Soldier Field.
He's watched every game this season. I guarantee you. I talked with Piotr Nowak. When these guys go in, they go in hot. They go in studied. They go in with a packet of ideas that they already have for the club because they've already done a lot of their homework. They want to get hired the job and then get paid to do more homework, obviously. Yeah. But that's what's going to happen here with Gregg. Gregg has already done some of the homework on the Fire. He's psychoanalyzed Frank. He's analyzed the team already. He's seen the results. He's looked through the entire Rolodex of this particular season. He's looked at their best games. He's looked at their worst games. And he's looking at all the players and be like, you know what? Aragoni, that's a guy I could probably work with. Jimenez, I'm not so sure. Turan might be able to work with him, especially if I bring in my guy. I'll talk about him here in a minute. And other ideas. So what I'm excited about this guy is not only is he coming in here and he's just like, oh, I'm going to try my tired old ideas. This guy is a hard worker. He loves a challenge. He wants to come in here and cook. He wants to come in here and prove he is the best coach in MLS, bar none. You to take your Wilfred Nancy's, toss him in the fucking garbage. Gregg Berhalter's here. He's showing up on the stream, and he is, gosh damn it, gonna show everybody in fucking MLS that he is the best coach in MLS. Guarantee you that's what he's coming in here. He's coming in here with balls
Calm down,
that
Greg.
are
It's
brass.
No, but hold on. James got a point there because out of all the MLS coaches, he's the one that got the job as the national team head coach.
He's got something to prove still.
He did. Yeah, no, he definitely does after that US stint, that second one.
So my thing is like looking at this. Let's one thing that we're gonna see is that the Fire, if Gregg's still playing with this kind of style, they're gonna clog that. They're gonna clog up that midfield. It's not gonna be easy for teams to.
What scares me though? Maybe it works, but like this kind of setup screams for some of the guys on our roster that we're like getting ready to get rid of, and like they're not good enough. No. Like a Chris Mueller. He's gonna be like this is kind of right up his alley, which sucks because I kind of am ready to move on. But anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
Here we played some home games, 90 degrees. I felt that if we're going to be a high pressing team, it could take too much energy out of the group.
Right.
So we wanted to be more of a controlling type of team where we can control the opponent based on our defensive movement as well, not just offensively. So then we came up with this structure. How can we prevent balls coming central?
We came up with this structure. He looked at a team. He figured, what's his strengths?
How can we prevent balls coming central? How can we make play predictable for the team? And this is the structure that we came up with. And I think the guys worked really hard in integrating this into our game. And I think we did a good job this year. The other important thing to realize is that it starts in a mid block, but it very much turns into a high press on cues. That's the important part of it. And the guys know cues when to move this block into here.
And that's
like
where the
smarter
secret.
Defending.
Yes, and that's where him being able to work with these guys day in, day out, it's going to wield better results than it did in the national team.
No,
who else
just
is suited for this system is Tom Barlow.
Oh,
God. Don't mention that guy. That guy is out. But all I'm saying is this. I can guarantee you that right now he's probably making a list of what guys will actually pick up on.
Oh, he's already got that list.
He's already got that list.
I got some names for you, but we'll get it at the next segment.
We'll get to that later.
Right here.
And just so you don't have to give away all your secrets, like one of the little cues, for example, is if a
By the way, he's not giving away all of his secrets.
The little cues, for example, is if a team plays backwards, if the team on the ball, the opponent plays backwards, maybe there's a bouncing ball, that's a cue universally for all teams around the world to say, hey, let's go.
By the way, that's Giassi Zardes. They're forward, pressuring the ball out on the wing.
First guy puts pressure on the ball, and everyone follows, and I assume yours are pretty similar to what everyone else does.
I guess it would, part of the backwards pass would be depending on how far the backwards pass is. If the fullback had the ball and he passes back to the goalkeeper, part of the backwards pass would be depending on how far the backwards pass is. If the fullback had the ball and he passes back to the goalkeeper, we wouldn't necessarily make that run. The distance would be too far. Right. So it's just depending on the distance of the back.
Man, he's felt.
You've played a pretty defined style in Columbus, but you've also adjusted. New England tried to press you this year, and you played long, and against the Red Bulls in Toronto in the past. How do you know when to adjust? How do you know when it's the right time to stick to this style, but say maybe today is not the day for that?
I think it's weighing how much we can hurt them versus how much they can hurt us.
I'm so fucking excited.
And if that ratio gets out of whack,
he doesn't make changes until the 87th minute of games.
How much we can hurt them versus how much they can hurt us.
Listen to him, though.
How do you know when to adjust? How do you know when it's the right time to stick to this style, but say maybe today is not?
By the way, just watch the swallow of concern in his. You see him swallow, so he's a little nervous by this one.
How do you know when to adjust? How do you know when it's the right time to stick to this style, but say maybe today is not the day for that?
I think it's weighing how much we can hurt them versus how much they can hurt us.
That fucking excites me.
If that ratio,
because there's no time that Frank Klopas is ever calculating that. He's like, how do we survive this game?
Well, I know I know Tog mentioned 87, like 83rd minute. You know,
Yes.
he likes to make changes, but keep in mind a lot of teams get burned when those late change, like
That
you
is
got first
that,
leg
Yeah,
versus
squeaky
tired
bum
leg.
time.
Changing at the
They call it
6th
squeaky bum time at Man United.
I don't know, man. I just
I mean,
he
it
doesn't change course
kind of
back.
has the makings. It kind of has the makings of a clutch team. Just saying.
We'll see.
And if that ratio gets out of whack, then we'll change. If we feel like we can hurt them more often than they can hurt us, then we'll continue to do what we're doing.
That is the other key part. Listen, he mentioned.
And they can hurt us, then we'll continue to do what we're doing.
So if we are in a position where we are going to keep injuring them, hurting them, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, like, damn the torpedoes.
I was thinking more or less tactically. Like, if the right side of the team is weak, he's gonna keep attacking that side until it gets to a run.
This guy has a plan. This guy has way more of an idea than I've ever heard from Frank. But I love Frank.
We don't know if this is his idea
we
now.
never heard.
We don't know.
So we don't.
That's true.
Well, James, I have a very serious question. Too bad it's at the end of a segment.
Yeah.
But James, you mentioned it. You said 2 years. How long is the leash for you, DPG, before you're kind of like, oh, things aren't going well and I'm pissed off about it?
So I think by year 3.
I really want to give. I would give 3 years.
Dude,
I would also.
No,
give 3.
hold on. This is why. 2016. Let's go back to 2016. And I know this is just an example. All right, doesn't mean I like the guy. 2016.
Want to get
we had
married to
Velko.
him.
Yeah. 2016 we had Volko. It was horrible. You know, it was like another disaster season.
And in
right?
2016, I called it. I said, we got to move on from this guy.
And then 2017, look what happens. Fire blow up. You know, and then obviously at the end of 2017, there was so much mismanagement that they pretty much killed whatever momentum they had from that season.
That's what I saw.
And of
I saw
course,
this
Velko,
mismanagement. But, however, there was this idea that maybe Velko could learn. Maybe he could. He did win a FIFA World Cup.
That's another thing. I was expecting Velko to adapt, to evolve from these tactics.
Yes.
In the first half of the season, he was playing a certain way, but then teams were catching on to it. And I think, you know, going back to Gregg Berhalter, you have to give him at least 3 years. Like, you have to give him that third year. Like, if the first year is always going to be a restructuring year.
If Velko Paunovic gets 3 years, come on.
Stop.
That's literally, we could give this guy 3 years. The coach of the U.S. men's national team.
No. He has 2
before we
free
chase him out for the
DP
pitchfork.
He has 2 free DP
Look,
spots.
man.
He has 3 free young DP spots. Or he's got TAM players coming out of his ears.
Look,
all right, wait. We got to come back and talk more. But there's tactics. There's so much more stuff that he's got to establish, train out. Well, let's get into this. You know, we got so much more to talk about here on Enemies of the Fire.
Let's go on a break. All right? We got
you guys in the comments section. Make sure you guys comment below what you guys are feeling for how Gregg Berhalter's reign is going to go with the Chicago Fire. What you're concerned about or what you're excited about. And we're gonna go to break. But make sure that before you do, it's free, it's fun, and it's fair, and you get to poke the motherfucker in the eye. And I'm talking about that.
And we're gonna come back to his argument.
We're
gonna come back to his argument.
The like button. Get him. Just little.
We're gonna come back to his argument.
Little 2-tap to the eyes of the like button and help defeat the algorithms of YouTube. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. It's free. Welcome back, everybody, to Enemies of the Fire, where we are having a little bit of a tussle in Brussels here over how long of a leash that we want to really give Gregg Berhalter as both director and head coach of the Chicago Fire.
I don't think you separate it for sure. You guys, so just to reiterate your stance, James is on board, right? You're 2-3 years
easily.
You're 2. But wait, how long before you're mad?
2 years. At 2 years in, I can start to question. But 3 years in, I'm signed up for.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it.
How do you feel?
I'm a 3-year plan. I'm a 3-year plan guy. The first year, you gotta let the man cook. You gotta let the man figure this team out. You're not gonna sign a few players and automatically you're gonna be playoff contenders. You're not gonna be MLS contenders. It doesn't work that way in any professional sport. You're talking about baseball, NFL, NHL. It doesn't work that way. You gotta give that head coach enough time to make adjustments. To say, hey, you know what, that didn't work, or this guy didn't work. Let's try something else. But by the second year, whatever issues he had in the first year, he got rid of. He should be hitting the ground running this time. And whether or not he's MLS contender, that's going to depend on what changes he made. But if by the third year nothing has changed and it's been 2 losing seasons in a row, then at that point, you got to cut him loose.
There's no way they're going to lose with Weston McKinnie, but we'll get into that.
You all are crazy. You all are crazy. Listen, 134% of the teams in Major League Soccer make the playoffs. Like the
Chicago Fire haven't made the playoffs since 2018.
There's like 93 spots open. If he misses the playoffs year 1, because let's not forget, he has 2 open DP slots. He has 3 TAM spots that'll be open. He has 1 or 2 young DPs or whatever he could sign. This is going to be Gregg Berhalter's team. If the Fire miss the playoffs year 1, Berhalter.
You're wrong.
You can get everybody.
This is still Frank Klopas' team. This is still Georg Heitz's team. Who's striker? Kuipers? Not Gregg's guy. Gregg's going to have to work with Kuipers because Georg has saddled him with this team.
On top of that,
dude,
you're not going to get all your guys. You're not going to get all your guys in 1 year.
And to speak to what DPG's talking about, you're not going to be able to undo the tactical damage that has been done to Guti in just half of a season.
You literally had to rebuild Guti again, and I don't even think he's one of the guys that's going to stay on
from the ground up.
If you miss the playoffs, you're gone, dude.
If you miss the playoffs with Weston McKinnie as your DP, I would agree with you. It'd be sad.
Not a chance.
I'm not high on Weston McKinnie. Okay, I'm not you guys know this. All right, you guys know this. All right. So considering the playoff format of the MLS, I can see where Toka's coming from, where we end up finishing like the last 4 or 5 teams at the bottom, whatever. If it's honestly, you gotta give him the first year. You gotta let him kind of get that MLS cobwebs, the rust off. The next year you gotta make sure. Obviously, he's gonna make the playoffs. He has to make the playoffs. But
I think he can make playoffs in year 1. If he doesn't make playoffs in year 1, I would be disappointed because look at what Frank has done with this horrible team. They're in last place, but they're still only like 9 or 10 points out of the difference out of the playoffs. Yeah. I feel like Triple G should bring enough to this team where he could brace them up 3 wins.
And again, the whole point is,
that's still a mega ask for just a coach. He has to deal with the talent that is here.
Not only that, he's going to be calling the shots on who comes into this team.
The new guys, not the old guys. The old guys, he's going to be able to ship off the easy dead wood, right?
Yeah. The new guys, he'll get to pick out the players he wants and he needs. Mm-hmm. All right. He might not get all his guys. And
hold
he
on.
Won't get all his guys. That's soccer. You never get all your guys.
You have to. You have all the spots open. If we go into this season, we haven't signed both DP spots.
I don't believe that's going to happen under his.
I don't think it's going to happen. They're going to use it up.
He's going to have 3 guys, and if he misses on the first one, he's getting the second. If he misses on the second, he's getting the third. This guy has the ability. This is what's interesting about Triple G. He's got guys. He's got guys that will follow him to the ends of the earth that we don't even know about, but are good at soccer. He's got them. He's got him in tow. He might not have everybody. He might not have the whole of U.S. soccer being biting at the bits to go train under Gregg Berhalter. But I guarantee you there's a sizable majority of talent that wants to go work for the previous head manager of the U.S. men's national team in MLS, where they have a chance to not only leapfrog others because they're getting trained by a U.S. men's national team coach, former U.S. but they're getting elevated by that play. by that coach.
Keep in mind too, one thing that's been overlooked so far is the fact that he's going to be doing this with Joe Mansueto's wallet.
Yes.
That part I do agree with.
With Joe Mansueto's wallet.
Let's fucking go. A guy who
He's
knows
gonna
MLS
have-
players, who knows how the limitations, knows talent abounds the international world
So-
beyond the MLS, and he's got the pocketbook.
If we
He's gonna
take
have
all
a
the
blank
money,
check.
if we take all the money that the Fire has spent over the last 4 or 5 years on players, which right now is probably ranging between the 60 and the 70 million. Imagine what Gregg Berhalter will be able to do with 60, 70 million.
Because he understands MLS in a way that Georg Heitz never did.
Well, okay. I know the exciting thing is who's coming. But before we talk about who's coming, God,
Who's
damn it,
going?
I'm out wrong.
Who's
Yeah.
going?
Let's talk about who's potentially
who's
going.
Staying?
Who's
Well,
staying?
who's staying?
Okay, I
That's a
gotta
much
bring up the
shorter
roster.
list. That's a much shorter
I'm
list.
doing that
Okay.
right now.
I'm
got
pulling
it
up the roster. Hold
And
on, hold
Mr.
on. I got-
Alphabetically first.
Are you
Mr.
doing it on the Fire app?
Kalinikowski. No, I'm on the computer. But
Oh crap! Hold on. Here, let me see. Yeah.
I mean-
oh,
who starts? Let's just think starters. Like, I know bench players and whatever, what have you.
Let's just
Okay.
go. Does Suke meet the quality? Suke could work for him.
he's gonna be
does
off
Berhalter
the
play him?
bench.
I don't want him, but Suke could work.
Yeah.
Right?
He might just be like deaf.
He's
That's
depth.
all-
Turan,
Yeah, that's
he
all.
might be able to work with Turan. And,
Well,
and
he could work with Turan, but I think Turan's already got 1 foot out the door, kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't
yeah.
matter about the new coach. He kind of needs a new. a
He's
change
too
of
injury
scenery.
prone too.
that is
He's
true.
too injury prone. He's too injury prone.
I agree. Rafa Chihos
He's gone.
I don't.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
I don't think
he'll-
so. I don't think so.
You think he'll
I
he'll
think-
accept a limited role?
I think he'll
Is that-
accept a limited role.
He-
He
I
likes
think he-
Chicago, and under Triple G, he could accept a limited role. He'll see
I don't know.
probably a decent
I
amount of
think-
time in a 3-man back line.
Keep in mind who's going to be deciding his contract.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think like compared the drop off of performance he had from last year to now, it's like astronomical. Like
It's
it's crazy.
astronomical. It is.
And the thing is that I think Rafa just wants to kind of get out. He wants to go back to Germany. He wants to do whatever he wants to do.
I could see
Like, you
that.
can-
Peace.
I think honestly, I
okay
can kind of
with
see
it.
that from the but and I get that. The man, he put up with a lot of crappy coaches, so I don't blame him. If he wants to go
No,
back to
it's-
Europe,
It's time. It's time for him to move on
Yeah.
for a change of
But
scenery
he
as
would
well.
be. I feel like Triple G could work with him as a depth piece. Marin Haile Selassie is gone.
Gone? I don't think so because I think he signed a long term, or not a long term, but a couple year deal last season. So I think, to be honest,
Bye-bye.
I think he's a bench player. I think he's coming off the bench.
Chris
coming off
in a
the
Mueller?
perfect
bench.
world.
Chris
In
Mueller.
a perfect world, he'll come off the bench for
Yes.
Berhalter.
Okay.
yeah.
Chris Mueller probably gone.
I hope so.
I don't think he's
fear
staying.
I see.
you
The
know what?
problem is here's the thing. He's like the perfect prototype of a Berhalter guy. He's risless. He's underachieving. Like I feel like he's gonna really. I think he's gonna buy high on the Chris Mueller thing. Unfortunately,
I wanted Chris Mueller to be successul in
He's
this
an
club.
American.
I really want. I want. He's a Schaumburg kid. He's a local kid. I
Illinois.
wanted him to be like, be one of the pillars for this club. Now, whether or not Gregg Berhalter keeps him, I mean, if he keeps him, great. I'm all for it because maybe Gregg Berhalter might do something that might change his playing style. You never know. It happens.
Yes.
But if he's gone, then hey, tough luck.
He's droppable. He's definitely droppable.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, we need Americans or players with green cards. And Chris Mueller is an American, and we've only gone through international players before this.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: Mueller off the bench again, I'm okay with. Mueller being a integral part of this team. No.
Well, if we want to talk integral parts, we'll move on.
That depends. If his game, evolves and gets better, you can't
It's
deny
not.
the man.
It's not,
Which
but
is, yeah.
but he's an MLS depth sub right now, and that's
Yeah,
all.
word.
That's probably his peak
Yeah.
at this moment going forward.
I mean, after all, you guys were hyping up what's his face, Herberts to be a starter.
On
And-
this team under this administration, yes, but let's get not under Triple G.
Okay. Let's go on.
If we are going to talk about certifiable starters for Triple G, Hugo Kuipers is penciled in for sure. He's going to be looking at Hugo Kuipers' game, and he's going to be like, how do I maximize this player's game?
How do you get the ball on his feet on the last second before that goal goes in?
Where does he finish best? Where does he do his best work, and how do you get him the ball in that place?
Yeah, he's a box in the box, man. He's gonna get that. He cleans shit up, man. Here's the thing. The one good signing that Heights ever did, Hugo came in on big dollars with a lot on his shoulders, and he was by far the best player this season. By far. Absolutely. Like any other pick would be vibes. Like Hugo was by far our best player.
So the next player is, and I'm going to go on a lark here and say this guy is going to be okay in Gregg Berhalter's system. He'll at least he might even be a starter. Ariel Lassiter.
Nah, gone.
He might play. He might play in Gregg's system.
I've been terrified. I've really hated
Justin Miram was a star in his system.
So Ariel Lassiter, I don't want him to be the focal point.
No,
as we were mentioning last week, and I mean if there's better wingers,
guys,
in this league.
Guys, think about this. They've been talking with Gregg Berhalter for weeks. They signed Ariel Lassiter for Gregg Berhalter.
That's what I'm afraid of.
They signed. They're like, okay, this is a guy that Gregg will be able to work with. He handpicked him. He said, hey, you guys should probably snag this talent, Ariel Lassiter. And they're like, okay, Gregg, we will. Boom. I think that's what happened there with Ariel Lassiter. Maybe he's not a starter, but he's a building block for Gregg.
I will see him on the bench. If he comes off the bench, I'm all for it. I don't think he should be a starter.
I think he can start in Gregg's system.
If you're talking about, hold on, James, if you say he's a starter, he's starting over Gutman.
At left back?
Well, I mean, we don't play with wingers.
Wing. Okay.
We don't play with wingers and backs. We only play with wings. That's it. That's why I hate that setup.
I also wonder if over the past few weeks that Gregg has gently requested to Frank to try out a few ideas and to show him a few things with this roster about putting guys into certain spots.
I think you're reading too much into it.
I bet you that happened.
So.
Do you want to know why I guaranteed that happened? Because look at Frank Klopas' inclusion in Gregg Berhalter's setup. He's already included. The only reason he's getting included, he's probably doing a little side work for Gregg in the background.
Why? You know why he's getting included? This is more or less just Joe Mansueto, being the owner of this club, just wants to give Frank, the fact that he had to force Frank to coach this team this year, he probably wants to give Frank a nice, cushy job that he can write off into the sunset. Like, he's not that, this is basically Frank doing him a favor. And that's it. Like,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think why would you keep Frank around it?
Because Frank knows MLS. Frank has been around MLS. Frank announces MLS. Frank has been knee deep in MLS last whole season. He's got knowledge. He's got experience. He's got something that he can bring to the table. And this is burning inside of his chest. This crest is emblazoned on Frank's back. He's got the tattoo.
No,
Frank is assistant to the director of football.
He just wants to help. He's a team player. That's how I think of Frank.
Frank will thankfully never be a topic of conversation again. Thankfully,
no, it's not. And you know what? And honestly, I
think they send him out to talk to people sometimes.
No. The farther that Frank Klopas gets away from anything involving the style of play on the field, or player recruitment, the better.
Disagree about the player recruitment. Agree about the style of play.
Well, okay, he's a cheerleader. He's a cheerleader for the club. I feel what you're saying. James.
Yes.
So hold on. We got more guys we got to get through here.
Okay.
We haven't even hit the meat of the Brian Gutierrez situation.
All right. Well, let's Tom Barlow gone. Tobias Salquist gone. Andrew Gutman might hang on.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people are still hyped about Gutman being the starter. And again, it's a Gutman or Lassiter thing. We're not going to see them both.
They play different positions. Gregg could play a four-man in the back, and then all of a sudden Gutman's back out
Greg
there, and
actually
Lassiter's in
plays
there.
4 men in the back, then Lassiter doesn't have a space here because there's no
he can play
way
left
that
midfielder.
there's no way that you.
It is 4-2-2 that 4-2-2-2. 4-2-2-2-2 that we discussed.
Why?
I don't know.
Such a terrible idea.
Let's move on. Salquist gone.
I think so.
I'm sorry, Ohmsberg. I don't think so.
I think he's done. His contract's out of. Yeah, they won't re-sign him.
Guti, easy. He's here. They're going to try and rebuild Guti.
Is it easy? Because here's the thing. I think most people are like, yeah. But like, if he's got a real agent, his agent saying, get out now.
His agent saying, you're going to be able to get coached by the former head national team of the U.S. men's national team. I guarantee you his agent's like, this is a very good chance here. If Gregg's already talking to him, Gregg could already be talking to him.
I feel like, I don't think Gregg is going to be involved until today, until he put pen to paper.
Yeah.
Gregg was involved weeks before this guy.
I don't
they had
guarantee
conversations. They were negotiating.
1,000% guarantee
The man
how I know
literally had
soccer
an
works.
interview. The man literally had an interview with San Jose. Do you think you're going to let someone manage your club when he's interviewing with another club?
He's checking out his options.
No, you can't. It doesn't make any sense. Why the hell?
We're going steady. You give me your ideas.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Who do you think is going to be the more attractive situation in terms of recruiting? You got a former U.S. men's national team guy that has played against some of the best teams in the world.
Played in a World Cup. I mean,
played in the World Cup.
Coached the World Cup.
So he knows all the situations, the stresses, and all that. Do you want that guy to talk to you, to recruit you to his club team, or do you want Frank Klopas to recruit you?
Oh, you want Triple G? Yeah.
You need them both. You need them both. You need the credentials of Gregg and the vibes of Klopas. You need them both.
I guarantee you the vibes of Klopas offset the very even kilter of Triple G. Toke said his message even was a little. It felt low energy, but that's where Klopas comes in. He's got a little bit of that high energy to offset that.
So DPG, when you dropped out for a second, we talked about Gutierrez. I feel like he
Gutierrez
might be on the way out.
No way, really?
He's gone.
Wow, I'm saying he's still here. I think he's going to be working with Triple G.
I don't think he should be a focal point to this club anymore.
I agree. I agree with that too.
I'll tell you why.
He's American, though. We're finding it hard to keep Americans on this team.
You're not wrong.
Given Guti, you're not wrong, but we have given Guti a couple of years now. He has been more or less so inconsistent that it's kind of gotten to a point that now, at this point right now, he's kind of on a downturn. Like he hasn't done anything the past couple of weeks.
I don't know. I think he might leave just based on him trying to get to Europe. But beyond that, I think him staying would be a good thing for the team and his career.
Guys, this year he's scored the most goals he's ever scored.
Yeah, but look, he scored those goals during the first half of the season.
Yeah,
now
he scored early. You're right.
Now he's kind of quiet. Now he's not doing much.
I don't think that Frank has really developed him.
No, not at all. You're 100% correct.
If Gregg keeps him and nothing happens with him, he's gone by next year.
All right.
Maybe. If we don't see enough flashes out of him, we'll move on to the next player, and that is Spencer Ritchie. Gone.
No, I mean, you need an American to sit around on the bench.
Guys, you need an American, but Georgios Koutsias?
Gone, hard gone.
I would like, I'll put it this way.
Nope.
If Tom Barlow is gone, I'd take Koutsias as the third striker.
He's still 20.
A different backup.
He's 20 years old.
Oh, you know what? Actually, no. You know what? Actually, move him and bring up the kid. What's his face? The golden boot ringer.
Oh,
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Glasgow.
Yeah, Glasgow.
So yeah. So I think Koutsias is gone. I don't. He was okay, but it's just his. I don't know.
Well, it's an international spot, man.
Yeah, he's
all right.
gone.
What's next on your list?
Fabian Herbers, the ultimate Swiss Army knife. I guarantee you, he's got to stay.
No, he's gone. His contract's up.
If his contract's up, he might be gone. But and I guarantee you, Gregg's got a better Swiss Army knife than Fabian Herber's up his
Yeah,
sleeve.
yeah.
Guarantee it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, and I like Fabian. Mauricio
Agreed.
Pineda,
I think he's gone, unfortunately.
American
unless-
homegrown. We got to keep one of
Yeah.
them. That's Guti right now.
Well,
for me.
here's the thing. Pineda, as much as I like Mauricio Pineda, I think this season he really hasn't done much, and I think it's hard to argue to keep him on the team after this season.
See,
Like,
I'd actually disagree. I, as a personal human, like his game, and I think he
Where
would
do you
do
play
better with
him,
more.
Toke? Where do you
Right,
play
exactly.
him? What,
Well,
what
no,
his
no, you play-
game?
No, center defense. He's a way better defender than midfielder. Way better. And I would, like I said, I think he needs more reps. And so if I was choosing, I'd keep him. But from everything I see with my eyes, I feel like the club is moving away from him. That's why I say he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. I think I'm telling you, that backline's gonna look a lot different next season.
I hope you're right.
You know who is going to look
Um,
different next season? I guarantee you is a linchpin in the Gregg Berhalter system. The man I got up next, number 23 for the Chicago Fire, Kellen Acosta.
Oh yeah.
He's staying. Yeah, he's gonna
Lock.
stay.
Oh,
yeah.
captain, he's the captain.
Lock.
Yeah.
He's just the captain. That's it. I mean, Kellen Acosta quietly had a decent year. He didn't do anything, well, other than the fucking wind-assisted goal, but he didn't
Yeah.
do anything extremely out of the ordinary that, like, to show his class. But he survived in a crappy midfield.
He's 29
I
years
think
old
it-
still, too.
Here's
he
the
got
thing about Kellen
10 more years
Acosta.
out of him at least.
You put other players around him that can make it work, and it's like all of a sudden it's like you get a much better Kellen Acosta.
Well-
Like everything's hitting on all cylinders.
You know what my dream is? It's the Acosta, Yunus Musa type, and Brian Gutierrez in the center there.
Well,
Oh,
how
man.
about Acosta and
Nope,
Weston McKinnie?
don't say it. We're going to get to it. You
all right,
said
yeah.
it like twice.
All
We're
right,
getting to it.
All right, so let's go back to the next guy. But the next guy is, I think some Fire fans would love to see this guy around next season. And to be honest, he's kind of developed in a way that I feel like Guti hasn't. It's Jonathan Dean.
Yeah, Jonathan Dean's here. He's not an MLS starter yet. He just
He's
isn't.
not. He's not.
But he's developing nicely. Good.
If
For
you want to bring him off the bench, by all means, keep him on
let's
board.
keep giving him reps, man.
Guys. He's not a spring chicken anymore. He's not a kid. He's 27 years old.
What?
You didn't know that?
No,
Yeah, he's in.
I thought he was a kid.
Dean's gone.
Oh,
Dean is
yeah.
gone.
Yeah, you're right. Dean's gone.
I
At that
think
age.
with Gregg, the way Gregg might want to set up this club, it might, he might be gone. Actually, he might want to go younger.
By the way, we're
Damn.
worried about like all the Americans on the club. Craig's got a freaking stash of Americans.
Yeah, he do.
He got a whole list, man.
He
Come
got
on.
a whole list that are
Yeah,
better
he's
than
got
Johnny Dean,
Tigers.
better
He's
than
got
Mauricio
Tigers.
Pineda, better than Spencer
to
Ritchie,
decide the national
better than
team,
Wyatt
so.
Omsberg, better than Gutman, better than Barlow, better than Mueller. He's got at least 10, 20, 30 guys that are better than these guys.
God, you are drinking the Kool-Aid. All right, who's next?
The
All right,
next
who's
guy
next?
is Jeffrey Gall, goalkeeper,
No.
gone.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Keep going.
Ellen Aragoni, who's still on loan from Lugano.
I would like to see him stay, but I don't
really
think they're-
would.
I don't think they're
Here's
gonna.
my thing. I like Aragoni. If Gregg can make him work, by all means, go for it. But if like the loan is, they end the loan and that's it. No, he goes back to Switzerland. Then I can live with that. I honestly think that, Gregg might have something better. Who knows?
I hope so. I
He-
would take a Shaq Moore or a DeAndre Yedlin. I would
Joe Scaley.
maybe.
Ellen Aragoni is 25, but I still think you could build with him. He's definitely a
All right,
player with this team that you could build with.
I liked him. Anyway, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, I like him, but I mean, I'm not gonna be heartbroken if he leaves.
This next
Fair.
one, it'll rock Fire fans' world if he's still here. Gaston Jimenez.
Oh, he is out. He has to be out. Like,
Just for our mental health, he has to go.
Well, not only that, but think about it. If we were looking, going back to that video we saw of Gregg Berhalter explaining tactics, he wants someone that's active, not someone that's gonna jog
You're
back.
right. He steps on the ball constantly. You're
Guys,
He
I have a
wants somebody.
shocking fact for you.
What?
How many appearances, without looking, do you think that Gaston Jimenez has for the Chicago Fire since he joined in 2020?
Oh,
over
God.
100. Over 100.
Over 100, yeah.
116.
Oh. And it's that just shows how bad this club is. It's like, man, a guy like Gaston Jimenez, Mr. I want to jog back when I lose the ball. Yeah, that's the kind of player that can stick around.
You know what? I won't be like Gregg Out. I won't be that crazy. But I will be very unhappy if Gaston Jimenez is still on the roster.
What if he makes him serviceable?
He's not gonna make him. You
If
can't
that
make a guy
happens,
that's
you know what? If that
cannot make a
happens,
guy-
I'll gladly look like a fool. But
This
like,
next
don't play
player,
with my
a
heart.
little interesting because I mean they came in with a little heat, they came in with a little hype, they flashed a little their first season, their second season they were really built up, kind of fell, and then the third season like they're struggling to get on the field. I'm talking about Federico Navarro.
You know, I love Federico Navarro. Listen, we were on stream. We streamed last week. That was in lieu of a regular podcast. And he came on the field, and I told James how excited I was because he just is chaos. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's just straight chaos. And as I'm saying this, he walks on the field and proceeds to immediately get a yellow card. It's as I'm saying this. So, like, I love him for the vibes and the ridiculousness, but like the talent, the raw talent was there, but it's not materialized, and we are not in a place to develop. We need wins.
How
And
old do
not
you
only
think
this-
How old do you think he is?
He's like 20. He's
22?
23.
24.
Well, see,
So, keep in mind-
I'm done.
Keep in mind, this guy was a U22 player. Now, if he still has that tag, I think we have to move on and give that tag to someone else that we can, rebuild and go from there. I mean, cool. Federico Navarro was great the first year,
Well,
but I mean, if you can't keep
so-
up that kind of,
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt, but these two, Gaston and Navarro, are signed through next season. One of them, the buyout will have to be used on.
Federico Navarro has a
Yeah.
deal that could go up to $5 million for the purchase with his old team Talares. That's crazy.
No, thank you.
Wow.
Send us. Get him out of here.
Get
man.
him out.
All right.
yeah.
All right. Next.
Moving on, and this one, this is going to be a hot item. The best player of the Chicago Fire, probably most of the season, not playing out in the outfield. It's goalkeeper number 34, Chris Brady.
That's a hard keep.
Yeah, I will say this. I said this in a previous podcast, and I know I sound like a lunatic. I am more than happy to keep Brady, but part of me is like, sell him to Europe, take a portion of that cash, and sign Matt Turner. But I
like your
live with
idea.
Brady.
I actually like your idea, but I'm not convinced that Matt Turner's an upgrade on Chris Brady. I think it's
keep in mind.
I think
Keep in
it's
mind,
more
keep
of the
in mind.
same. I want somebody
No.
who's a little bit more able to.
No, but
to
not
play
only
with their
that, not only
feet.
that. You guys gotta look at the bigger picture here, though. You're not gonna get a salary cap hit with Chris Brady, but you are gonna get a salary cap hit with Matt Turner.
Yeah, I thought that would be offset by how much you make off the Brady sale, but I don't know, man. He's a great shot stopper. I don't know why people haven't tried to poach him already.
He's a great shot stopper. I agree. But here's why people aren't poaching him. It's because every other coach in the world wants a keeper who's a former left back.
Well, fair, but I mean, Brady is not incompetent with his feet.
No,
He's
but
just-
you know what it is, guys, is that our
Distribution.
backline is so crappy that Brady's basically freaking trying to stop as much as he can. And unfortunately, you can't stop them all.
I'm pro Brady. I'm pro Brady. 100%.
I want to keep Brady because first of all, he's a low salary cap hit. You're gonna get just as good as a productivity as you would get with Matt Turner, without paying Matt Turner price, because Matt Turner's not gonna come here for no 100K or 200K.
He should. He needs to come back with his tail between his legs.
Wow.
No, he ain't. He's gonna make demands.
Going over this roster is just making it clear that Gregg Berhalter is going to overhaul this
I hope
roster
so.
radically.
I hope so. Yeah, because we only had a consensus on 3 starters / we think he might want Ari Lassiter.
The next 4 guys aren't even worth mentioning.
No, don't even mention them.
Sergio Oragel, Justin Reynolds, Javier Casas, and Chase Gaspar, in addition to Misael Rodriguez, Victor Becerra, Brian Dowd, and Lawrence Wooten.
They're all supplemental parts, which is fine.
Yeah, they're all going to be in fire 2. I don't care if they're in fire 2. Just,
it's okay. So we only had a consensus on 3 starters, which means we got to sign a lot of people. And speaking of, I heard a lot of rumors. Oh, actually, before we get into that, can I ruin your guys' night?
Oh, no.
Guess who lost their job yesterday and has worked as an assistant for Gregg Berhalter for many a year?
Who?
Josh Wolff.
Ooh, Chicago Fire player Josh Wolff.
Former Chicago Fire, man. Ooh,
yeah,
man.
I would love to see him brought back as assistant. And as I was talking about, maybe Josh gets trained to become the next manager while Gregg's like, you know what? I'm going to train you.
Let me ask you guys this. Please. Let me ask you guys this.
I want these guys. I want the best of the best in charge of Chicago Fire. Gregg is amongst the best of the best out there.
Let me ask this. Does Nagamura stay or go?
Gone. I haven't heard word 1 about it. I asked everybody in the Discord, but they're too cool to talk to me. So.
He's probably gone. Yeah.
Blew the coop.
Zach Thornton, goalkeeping coach.
Gone.
No.
Gregg's got somebody better. Gregg's got as an understudy to Gregg's guy. Gregg's got every coach that we have. Gregg's got somebody better.
Compare. Considering that they're gonna keep Frank Klopas in another role, and because of course Frank Klopas is a former Fire legend, former Fire player / legend. Zach Thornton is a former Fire player / legend. And I think if Joe's trying to keep a trend here, you keep Zach Thornton, you bring in Josh Wolff. Yeah. It's gonna feel like 1998 again.
I like this keeping Zach Thornton. I don't like the Josh Wolff.
I'm okay with keeping Zach Thornton. Thornton's got he's done well with Chris Brady.
Yes, he has, but just Josh Wolff does not have a good reputation as a coach.
Well, that is questionable.
So James said this twice, and
should we close it down, or should we say this for the next segment?
No, keep this rolling. Keep this rolling. This is going to be shorter. So James brought this up twice, and I bit my lip not saying anything about it.
Let's go.
Weston McKinnie rumors abound. The internet exploded.
We got to come back. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about players.
We'll come back because I'm going to trash this too. We got to come back.
All right, guys, make sure you guys stick around for more Enemies of the Fire. Make sure you guys take that like button, put it on the ground, look it in the eye, grab it, pick it up, pump it full of air because it was a little flat, you knew. Put it back down, and then boot it. Boot that like button for Enemies of the Fire. Destroy the YouTube algorithms. So guys, catch you on the flip side. We're going to be talking about potential Chicago Fire players that are going to be new and incoming to Gregg Berhalter's system.
Welcome back, Enemies of the Fire. We are to prognosticate, to speculate, to dream just a little. We ended the last segment. I brought it up after James has brought it up twice, and I've been dying to mention it. The Weston McKinnie rumors are just off to the races. We got blurry pictures. We got Harold's chicken on jerseys. We've got crazy shit going on. What? Does anybody think this is even possible?
If he cares about his career in Europe, I don't think so.
I mean, I agree with that. James, do you think this is even possible?
Do I think what's even possible?
Like the Fire signing Weston McKinnie?
No. With Gregg Berhalter at the helm, 100% I think it's possible.
Really? Because he's doing too well at Juventus. Why would he ever come?
He's only played, how many games have he played this season for Juventus?
He really shouldn't go. It would have to be like a 1-year thing here, but even then it would be like You're not coming here
He's
for
only
1
played-
year.
He's only played 4 games in Juventus.
Really?
It's only been like 6 games total.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 games and 1
Like-
yellow card.
Yeah, dude, he is where he needs to be. But personally, I want nothing more than Weston McKinnie to be here. Like USMNT be damned. I don't care.
I think he's instant. He's instant. One of the best players in the league upon arrival.
Instantly. He will become a Fire legend.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Okay, so here's
instantly.
the thing. The only time you're gonna be able to get Weston McKennie on a Fire jersey is you basically got to catch him on the time where Juventus feels like he's a throwaway toy again.
Right.
Dude,
That's the only
he's going
time
to
you're
cost
gonna-
$20 million. He's going to cost $20 million.
He's gonna cost.
Yeah,
a
Joe's got
chunk
the
of-
money. Joe's got the money, dude.
Would you pay $20 million for Weston? To me, he's
Yes.
worth that. To get one of the best. You're getting, in my opinion, a top 3 best player in MLS on day of arrival. But he plays midfield. Okay, yeah, he's not a striker. But man, you got the guy who will literally dominate every MLS midfield every game.
From box to box, he will dominate the entire
and-
length of the field.
And he's got a vested interest in playing his butt off so he can stay on the men's national team.
Well, here's my thing. He's not gonna leave Juventus.
No.
Hopefully Juventus is not gonna sell him, no matter what the rumors are. I think these rumors are just kind of people just hyping themselves up.
Well, it's
into
because-
Okay. So if you guys
Cincinnati made a bid last year
they
for
did.
him,
They did.
and it got rejected though.
It came
so
close,
everybody
though.
doesn't.
It came
Nobody
close.
talks about that.
It came
Well,
close
you
with
think?
Weston and Cincinnati. It came closer than people realized, which is why him to Chicago is a possibility. However, if he's not a possibility, how do you guys feel about Paul Pogba? He also has colored hair.
God, I'm gonna say this. Asked right now, I don't want any of that smoke. I don't really want that.
You're bringing drama into this team.
But I will say, if they do bring drama into this team, I will enjoy every minute of it.
I don't
but
think
will,
Pogba's coming. Pogba does not fit Triple G's style. Pogba's effort is called into question every game he's ever played.
You're not wrong.
Because his talent supersedes certain things. He's an excellent talent, but there are times where I watched a lot of Man United ball, and Pogba frustrated me so much. I don't see him working with Gregg Berhalter in a way. I see Gregg Berhalter being able to work with Shaq better than he'd be able to work with Paul Pogba.
Good thing Shaq is
Actually,
gone. Then.
I would agree with that statement. Pogba, he's always been so much better for France than he's ever been for his teams.
Mm-hmm.
And it just
Like Shaq.
yeah.
Malaligned.
And I mean, it just feels
Or
like
Switzerland.
chaos because let's not pretend he was like injured. He was in the doghouse and then injured for like 2 straight seasons before the suspension. You know what I mean? So like, when was the last time this dude touched a football?
Oh, and then what if they come at you with like Pogba as a 10?
Yeah, see, that's where it gets real sketch. Like, again,
Pogba as your midfield shuffler for Greg could really work, by the way, though.
if we
really
sign
work.
Pogba, my expectations of winning go down, but I will have more fun with the chaos.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like when I feel like we're signing Weston McKinnie, I'm like, okay, well, we are actually instantaneously a contender in MLS Cup with
We're
Weston
winning
McKinnie.
CONCACAF Champions
with
League. We signed
Pogba,
Weston
there's
McKinnie.
just too much inconsistency where I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be good, but I don't know if we're gonna be instant contender like we would be with Weston.
Well, you know what the real rumor that's starting to heat up is, like, not to Chicago, but to Columbus.
Who?
Paul Pogba.
If Columbus is looking at Paul Pogba, we should be looking at Paul Pogba. That's what it comes down to. But let's move past Pogba. Let's move past Weston.
Yo, you want to know what's scarier than Weston or Paul Pogba,
Who?
and who's a real possibility? And
Aaron
I'm
Long?
terrified. Well, hold on before we get to that
All right.
abortion of an idea.
Oh, Jesus.
Jackson Ewell wants out of San Jose. Gregg Berhalter.
Can you blame him? Can you blame him
on that? Like he's
Who
all
else
about it.
wants?
He's here.
Who else wants out of San Jose?
He's here.
But somebody a guy who's going to sit the bench, but I love him.
What about, was it? Yeah.
Greg is going to
But
pluck
he's
the best
sitting
player
behind-
from San Jose, and if that is Jackson Ewell, he's bringing him over here.
I don't want none of that, dude. Jackson
You
Ewell
don't want a Boba C here?
What position does he play?
You don't want Boba C here?
Center defensive mid.
That could be that could be his partner with Acosta.
Acosta.
Yes, and we've seen it with the national team. It was terrible.
What about
It was
Boba C?
terrible.
What about Boba C, man?
I love Jeremy Ebobisse in my heart. He is like one of those. I'm like an MLS sicko. He's one of those cats, right? But he's not starting ahead of Hugo. So like we're buying a very, very, very good backup.
You could put
Don't you
Ebo on the
remember-
wing.
don't
You
you
could put
remember-
Ebo on the
playing
wing.
him out of position.
Nah,
on the
you could
wing.
put Ebo on that right wing
Well,
instead of
didn't you say?
Haas.
Can he just be his strike partner up top?
Yeah,
Oh God. Okay.
he works better in a two-man. Kuipers works better in a two-man anyway. We heard.
Yeah.
I do. I hate 3 in the back more, but I'm not a big fan of 4-4-2.
Okay, wait, 3 in the back. So you're talking about defense. We mentioned Aaron.
No,
Long.
I'm saying. Oh God.
We mentioned Aaron Long. I will do you one better. Aaron Long isn't coming. Toke,
Thank
it's
you.
okay.
Thank you.
He's bringing in Miles Robinson.
Okay. You know what? I'm on board.
I'm on
Miles
board.
Robinson.
I'm on
He's
board.
having a good season. I'm on board with
I'm
Miles
on
Yeah,
board.
Robinson.
but how are we going to convince Miles Robinson to get out of his contract? Where is he playing at right now?
He's playing at Cincy because he went to go play with Miazga, and then Miazga got hurt for the season.
And he's
So-
let me put it this way, he's available. Everybody in
Yeah,
MLS is available who isn't Leo Messi.
Well, wait, is he? Because he just signed a free agent deal with Cincy, meaning it was probably for multiple years. So are we paying Cincy a transfer fee?
Doesn't matter, get him in.
Oh my God! Money and Gaston Jimenez to Cincinnati for Miles Robinson.
Yeah,
There you
take
go.
Gaston, bring I would love that. That's an instant upgrade on the back line. Then you start working on that spine.
We're basically trying to recreate the U.S. men's national team. If it's
we're
only
not.
U.S. based players.
We're choosing
Well,
real players that are probably able to come to MLS, and Miles already in MLS. Miles Robinson fits that to a T of a Gregg Berhalter player. He's got him circled. He's like, I can do this if I got Miles, and we could beat anybody. And who else does he got circled? Do you think Tyler Adams is coming back to MLS?
no, he's
No.
rushing back now. They're talking about he's going to be ready in 2 weeks to play for Bournemouth.
Damn, I would love to bring Tyler Adams. Okay, Bournemouth. Okay,
why?
yeah, he's
He'd
not.
be fun for 4 games and then disintegrate. His
Okay.
leg would pop off, and then he'd have to sit the rest of the season.
How do you
He's
guys?
just so injury prone.
How do you guys feel about Bello at left back?
100%. Let's do it.
Yeah, I would
Do the damn thing. You know who isn't playing that I heard another? I will shout it out. No, I won't shout it out because I can't remember what it was. But I was listening to somebody else's Fire-centric podcast, and they brought up the fact that Celta Vigo refuses to play Luca Dela Torre.
Bring him. Oh, that's easy. Done.
Okay,
Done.
So you,
Work a deal.
Done.
It's easier to work deals with people with clubs that don't want to play a certain
Yep.
player.
And players that Greg likes that are better than the players we have. Done.
And you're gonna Luca
Done.
Del Toro is gonna be reunited with Gregg Berhalter. So honestly, anybody that was in a national team picture in the past 4 years,
Shaq Moore.
or was,
give me Shaq Moore. Yeah, I want Shaq.
Instead
Moore.
of
Anybody that was in
Aragoni gone, Shaq Moore. Boom.
anybody that was in that picture for the U.S. men's national team, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a lot easier to bring them on board to the Fire with Gregg Berhalter doing the talking.
Well, hold on.
Klopas.
Let's look at Dallas real quick, which is a collection of his favorite guys.
Yes,
ever.
they do. He might pilfer a Dallas
Well,
guy.
I was gonna say, do we end up with a Jesus Ferreira or a
Is his
Sebastian
contract
Lletget?
Guess
Is
what?
it contract?
Guess who Jesus Ferreira would be an excellent partner for?
Yeah, you're not wrong. In a
Kuipers.
boring
Holy shit.
4-4-2 is just like the formation to get.
He might work better than
1-0
Ebobisse
games.
as a partner for Kuipers.
Ebobisse.
So Lletget will actually be a nice addition to the Fire. I mean, it's a new scenery for him. He gets away from all that situation he dealt with in Texas.
Well, Jesus
And
Ferreira
he's still in Central Time.
Well, Jesus
There you
Ferreira
go.
has a super huge contract. like ignorantly
He's
big.
He's not gonna.
We don't
leave
want
Dallas.
that. Yeah, we don't want to take that.
Okay, yeah. If he's DP level, no.
Yeah, he is.
No.
But Leggett or Areola,
I'll take both of them.
I mean, but they're not playing well together. Like,
they're both instant upgrades on Mueller and Alex
not wrong.
Selassie. Both of them.
I gotta look up the contracts to see Pariola.
I mean, I don't know. Selassie with a better team around him probably would play better. He played.
No. Selassie,
so?
the project to Selassie is done.
We came into this season
Paul
so high on Selassie.
Ariola signed a 4-year contract with Dallas this season.
Whoa.
Yeah, you ain't getting him.
Womp womp down.
Damn.
Wow.
I like these names though that we shot at. I think we might have hit on one or two of them that are actually coming to the Chicago Fire.
I like some of those names. I don't know. The Luca Del Torre one really piqued my interest when I heard that earlier today.
I do want to hear in the comments from all of you amazing viewers of Enemies of Fire, who are your predictions to join the Chicago Fire? Put them down in the comments below. We'd love to read them.
All right. Well, okay. So we have finally, for once, had a huge fire-related episode extravaganza.
And it felt good. It felt good because we were excited to talk about it. That's good stuff.
So before we leave, I think it's imperative that we mention that the U.S. men's national team is playing 2 games. And Pochettino's first 2 games in charge. Like, I should be way more excited, but this Berhalter thing has completely eclipsed it for me. Like, I do not give a shit.
I think
really.
you should be very excited. What's the roster?
We went through it man by man during this or after the stream on that roster. Now, Balogun is hurt. He got hurt in the game against Monaco. He came down hard on his shoulder.
Guys, there's been some changes. Tanner Tessman, Brandon Vasquez, and Alex Zendashave has been added to the U.S. men's national team roster for October matches against Panama and Mexico. Vasquez and Zendejas will arrive today in Austin, with Tessman coming in the following day. Florin Balogun, Johnny Cardoso, and Tim Weah have all been withdrawn due to injury issues. So Balogun, Cardoso, and Tim Weah injured.
Oh, talking about Tim Weah. Talk about a wet dream if we could get him over here. But anyway,
that would be great. I would see him being an MLS destroyer, but I just don't see that happening.
I think he's too good. He's too good.
Too good, MLS. I think. But this is, this is exciting. Horvath, Schulte, Stefan, Matt Turner. Who's going to win that? Schulte?
Schulte or Stefan? Schulte or Stefan? Yeah. They better, because Turner and Horvath are not playing. And Pochettino assured us that not playing ass motherfuckers will not get play.
I think I asked you guys this last time. Do you guys know Marlon Fossey and Christopher Lund?
Christopher Lund has been a big disappointment in all the games that we've seen in a U.S. shirt, but like for his club, he's played better. I forget where he's at right now.
All right.
Now, as far as Folsey, I did not know who that was, and then saw him in the last friendly that the U.S. played, and I don't think he played well, but I think it was his first game. So the guys got jitters, the kids get jitters. It's fine. That's
kind of like the new names here besides Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, Joe Scally, and Austin Trusty for the defenders. As far as midfielders, I like some of these names. Brendan Aronson, Gianluca Busio getting a big old call-up for Venezia finally. Venezia. Weston McKinnie, we love. Aiden Morris, like that. Yunus Musa still getting the call-ups, even though he's struggling with AC Milan. Tanner Tessman, as he is arriving here, liking that. I mean, we called that early in the Olympics, saying that this guy might be showing up for the World Cup.
You're right. We did like Tessman in the Olympics.
Malik Tillman also getting called up as a midfielder.
I like Malik, and I like his brother Tim. I kind of wish we could poach him from LAFC.
As we discussed the last part of the stuff here, the forwards here, we're going to talk about Ricardo Pepi. Do the Fire just swing and bring him back?
Ooh,
because that's a Gregg guy.
We already have a better Ricardo Pepi and Hugo Kuipers.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
you forget like the strikers are the sexy names that we want to sign.
Also got from the Dutch
striker. Let's sign sexy wingers.
Christian Pulisic from Milan. Love that. Joshy Sargent, like him getting a call up. He's been doing okay for Norwich, but might have been struggling lately. Brandon Vasquez.
No, he's been actually killing it this season.
Sargent, I'm a big Sargent fan. I'm glad to hear that.
Him and Haji Wright are both killing it.
Oh, Haji Wright gotta get Haji Wright.
He's listed. He's right after Brandon Vasquez and Alex Zendejas.
Biggest question I have because the rest of the team either picks itself or is like it has to be a flyer, so who cares, right? So the biggest decision I want to see out of Pochettino is who plays striker. Does he give all four guys a half each?
Right. There's no flow here. There's no instant starter.
Who would you start? Because who the guys in the running? Pepe, Wright, Sargent, and why can't I think of the other guy's name right now? Pepe, Wright, Sargent, and Vasquez. So I would start Haji Wright 100%.
Okay. I want to see all three forwards. I want to see Vasquez. I want to see Haji most of all, and after that, Sargent, Pepe.
DPG, who you got? Oh my God! Look at the wheels turning.
Haji Wright.
I love it. Who do we think he's gonna start? I think Sargent gets the start. I kind of feel like that's the pick that I feel like that's everybody and their brothers.
I see Sargent coming off the bench. I think you kind of want some of that explosiveness from Haji Wright from the beginning, from the get-go. Because you don't really get that kind of explosiveness from Sargent.
Sargent's got some wheels, but he's not a demon.
Haji,
No, he's not Haji Wright. Haji Wright is a big dude too, man. He's a big broad.
So you want Haji Wright to soften up that defense and prep him for Sargent.
You're not wrong. I like that. I like that setup. And then Vasquez can kind of see. Vasquez, I feel like, is another guy that's hampered by the current game because he likes to play as like with a second striker. You know what I mean? Like I feel he's a tandem kind of guy.
Hey guys. Not to sideline the conversation, but a little more news has come to me.
Okay.
Oh no.
And it's just Matthew Doyle, him on the couch, who I mentioned earlier in the podcast.
Armchair analyst on the couch.
Armchair analyst on the couch. And he says, I would not be surprised if the Chicago Fire make Juve an offer they can't refuse. For Weston McKinnie.
We've got the cash.
We got the money, but it's this again. We talked about this. We have to catch, Juve or Juve, whichever way you want to go. You gotta catch them on the point where they're like, you know what, Weston McKinnie, we don't really want him.
18 million, just take it and we'll go. All right, he's out of here.
35 million.
Here's 18, and let us take Weston. It's not 20.
No,
it's gonna be here's $18 million.
25.
It's gonna be here's $18 million. We'll give you 25 if he meets certain criterias and goals. During the next 2-3 seasons.
No, what you're missing is Juve isn't dumb. Like an American coming back to the U.S. team or to the States to play in Major League Soccer before their career really dictates it is a premium. You're paying a premium.
All right, Juventus paid 18 mil to Leeds for him. Right now, Transfer Market says that Weston McKennie's value is projected at 28 million. Today.
Yeah, that's why I said 35. Dude, you gotta if we can, oh my God, I will buy a kit if we get Weston McKinnie, bro. Like
get a Weston number 8 in.
Oh my God.
In.
Oh my God. I'm already signed up, brother. I'm already signed up.
Can I ask something here?
Is Gregg Berhalter your favorite coach now?
No, hold on.
If he brings Weston?
I want to ask something here.
Close.
Do we think that Weston McKinnie will be a locker room cancer
No,
Absolutely not.
Fuck no.
And a fire
Absolutely
lot.
not.
In no sense of the word do I ever think.
You know why he
he's
gets
captain
in
material.
trouble? He only gets in trouble by having too much fun. Like,
well, we all
remember
know. Yeah, we all know. Like he had way, way, way too much fun with a certain someone's, or at least rumored certain someone's sibling, so to speak.
Well, also don't forget about the card game where him and Artur and a few other cats got in trouble. But like I said, man, Weston is not he's going to be a good locker room guy. Like I said, his only problem is sometimes he's having too much fun.
I mean,
that's the other thing is if
this is Gregg Berhalter, he might let it slide.
Maybe, but I'll say this. This is my only concern about Weston, even though like I'm so giddy for it, is if he's accepting the fact his European journey is over, do we get a little bit more like out of shape Weston McKinnie because he feels like he could just walk into MLS?
Here's another idea. This is one that's, and I don't mean these two guys have history, but fuck it, Gio Reyna.
Dude, I will have to change my shorts if we get Weston McKinnie and Gio Reyna on this team.
Yeah, I don't see Gio coming. I don't see Gio coming, but
no, I'm just saying.
There's no way.
He isn't he struggling right now? Isn't he like he's injured right now anyways, right?
He's injured and he can't get on the field and Dortmund doesn't want him and he's not, his stock isn't high enough for anybody else.
I would rather have Weston. I think Weston's I think Gio would be a great upgrade in MLS. He'd be stupendous, but he still's got a lot more to prove to me than Weston does.
See, I think Weston is in the very similar boat.
I think Gio's already kind of coming to that end where it's not working out for him in Europe. I mean, they have sent him on loan.
He might be a bust. He just might be a bust.
It's just not working out. I mean, he we talked about this before. He might need a change of scenery.
That's an upgrade on Guti.
I think he'll be the reason.
Instantly the best player in the league, even with Leo Messi. I don't know. I mean, if he shows his talent level in Major League Soccer, he would be.
I mean, like you mentioned, Dortmund doesn't want him anymore. They've already loaned him out to different teams, and it doesn't pan out. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, at that point, he's gonna be a free agent because I don't think Dortmund's gonna give him another contract.
This is a 21-year-old who plays in Europe.
But they did last year, though.
18 million on transfer market at the moment.
Oh my God! If you get Gio Reyna for 18 mil, do it all day and twice on Sunday.
I think he'll probably be more easier to attain than Weston McKinnie because Weston McKinnie right now is going through a moment with Juventus.
Absolutely.
I mean, Weston McKinnie's more expensive. I don't know if he'd be harder to attain. I feel like Gio Reyna would turn his nose up.
If Juventus is starting him,
Yeah, but Reyna's going to turn his nose up at MLS. Weston will think about it.
Well, no,
Weston
this is why
about it.
You kind of bring a guy like bring a guy like Gregg Berhalter and say, hey, look. I mean, I don't like your dad, but you know what? Here's the thing. Things are not working out. Things are not working out for you in Europe. How about let's give you another chance if we'll go to MLS. And if things go great in MLS, hey, you might even go back to Europe.
Man, is this what the rest of the league feels like when they talk about their team? They talk about exciting things like this? Is this what it's like to be a fan of a different team?
You know what? The reason I say Gio Reyna is because
the club culture changed the day we signed Gregg Berhalter to become the director of football and head coach of this club. We now finally have an upward trajectory projection of which we have not had for years.
You know what they call that?
Hope.
Oh my God, no way.
There you go.
Potential.
And those are words that we haven't heard in how long?
2009.
A reason to believe. Finally, they're giving us a reason to believe in the future of this club.
You guys really have no concerns about his lack, of scoring, his team's lack of scoring.
I have a reason to believe in the future of this club, Toke.
Okay, so I get what you're looking at it from, Toke. Yes. You're looking at it from a national team standpoint.
Well, also Hammerby or Hamburger over in Norway was like, "You don't score any goals, dude. Get out of here."
But we're talking about this man.
That was young in his development as a coach.
That was. Come on. You know how many people crapped on Jesse Marsh when he was coaching Montreal?
Hammerby was before Columbus Crew.
Yeah. Remember, Jesse Marsh started off in Montreal, and he got fired from Montreal.
He did.
And they brought him to Red Bull, and oh my God, it was like these Red Bull fans were about to riot because they were like, oh my God, you're bringing Jesse Marsh?
Why?
Jesse Marsh? Why? I think that was a whole situation. That was a whole controversial situation that they got rid of
Hans Baki or whatever.
Hans Baki. Even before that, it's like they got rid of him. They got rid of Petke. They got rid of Ali Curtis, whatever. And they were like, "You didn't work out in Montreal. What makes you think you're gonna work out here?"
Yeah.
The fans called them out, and look what happened,
guys. What it comes down to is that with these coaches, sometimes you have to pay the price of time. And Chicago Fire fans have paid that price and then some. And to be able to end up with a coach the caliber of this, a former USMNT national team coach, former successful MLS coach with a club that's had success for far longer than the Fire, there is a reason that Fire fans have to be excited finally.
If you want another fact, here's another fact. Gregg Berhalter is the first Fire head coach with MLS experience, and not counting Frank Klopas, because Frank Klopas comes in and out of the picture. Since what's that cat's name from San Jose from 2015?
Frank Yallop.
There you go. That's how long it has been that we have had.
He was GM and coach as well at the same time. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I was kind of negative today because all of my fears have come to the surface. But to be honest,
it's good to voice them. By the way,
I do have hope. Like, you're right. There is actual hope. There is interest. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we don't make the playoffs in year one, when the 9 teams make the playoffs, and like if we enter the season and we get some bullshit like Nelson Rodriguez was like, signing players is hard, and we have if we have open DP spots going into the season, I'm gonna freak out.
You know what?
But
I want to add something else. So I know a couple of weeks ago I had mentioned this, that this next year was going to be my last season as a season ticket holder.
Nope, 3 more.
Honestly, and I told my wife this earlier too. You know what? If Triple G, brings some stability and some
little magic,
if he makes this magic and he makes us competitive again. Ooh, I might just extend that a little bit.
Well, now I'm starting to look like my investment paid off. I got in at the ground floor.
There you go, man.
There you go.
All right. I think we have beaten this horse dead enough. Like, this was so much fun not for once. I always have fun doing the podcast, but like talking about the Fire.
Yes. It's been so much misery all season.
This has been so much fun.
We finally have something to look forward to. A project at this club that actually might come to fruition with success.
Man, if you guys made it this far, you're just as excited as we are. And I want you to comment with your thoughts on Berhalter. I want you to comment if you think we're crazy.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Sebastian Leggett, he got back together with Becky G.
No way! I thought that was a massive bag fumble. Oh my god! Sebastian Leggett Club over here. Bro. The Chicago Fire get Becky G, and also
she might
Sebastian
be able to sing on our halftime. Yeah, she might do the concert after the game.
Dude, that's what we need. We need some of that celebrity craziness too.
Yep.
We need. By the way, Angel Reese is on a tour everywhere. I need Angel Reese to fucking pull the alarm, guys. Come on now.
Yes.
Make this happen, Chicago Fire. Angel Reese,
I like
sound the
Angel.
alarm.
Hey, you know what? Get Caleb Williams in there too. Why not?
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
He's a soccer
I'm more
fan.
of a fan of Angel
You seen his nails?
Reese. But all right, James, what can these people do with the like button after they've commented?
So instead of taking the like button and just throwing it in the trash, make sure you give it a little poke. Two-finger eye poke, and greatly appreciate it. Helps defeat the YouTube algorithms and also greatly helps the show and spread the fire fans. It helps fan the flames to other Chicago soccer fans like you and all of us watching this. Greatly appreciate it. Guys, are you guys excited for this, though? We want to hear it in the comments. Let's fucking go. And if you want to fight, we'll fight. But if you want to be overjoyed, let's do it, too. Let's party.
Good times.
We love you. Peace out, everybody.
Later, guys. See you next
Good
week
night, guys.
on Enemies of the Fire.
James, what if they were so inclined, should they do with the like button?
This time, probably pick it up in your hands. Don't worry. Play stopped. We talked to the ref. Ref blew his whistle. He's waiting on you. Inspect the ball. Dust it off. Get that blade of grass right. Set the ball down. Go into your zen zone. Look the goalkeeper dead in the eyes, like you fucked his mother. Back the ball. Back up. And even though it's your son you're shooting on, bury that ball into the upper 90. And make sure you hit that like button along the way and be right back here on Enemies of the Fire.